Good morning, everybody, or good evening, or good afternoon, or good night, depending on what time you're watching this. It is Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. It is 3:29 in the morning. Okay, this is Praise for Theodore Rex. Take a deep breath and dive into Theodore Rex Edmund Morris's sequel to his 1979 masterpiece, The Rise of Theodore Roosevelt. He writes with a breezy verve that makes the pages fly and that perfectly suits his subject. A combination of diffidence and enthusiasm allows him to write of our past, which looks like our future, when energy and clarity. Richard Heiser, the New York Times Book Review. In Edmund Morris, a great president has found a great biographer. This is every bit as much a masterpiece of biographical writing as Morris's first installment, The Rise of Theodore Roosevelt, which won the Pulitzer Prize and the American Book Award. Michael Lind, The Washington Post. Morris's narrative account of Roosevelt as president is not likely to be bettered by any scholar at any time in the foreseeable future. As a literary work on Theodore Roosevelt, it is unlikely ever to be surpassed. It is one of the greatest histories of American presidency, worthy of being on a shelf alongside Henry Adams' volumes on Jefferson and Madison. Ernest R. May, The Times Literary Supplement. By dint of its subject's wildly captivating personality, Theodore Rex is able to combine the sweep of history and the complexities of statesmanship with the persuasive sense that you, the reader, are there. Janet Maslin, The New York Times. This eagerly awaited second volume of Edmund Morris's biography of Theodore Roosevelt could not have been better timed. It is just as scholarly and readable as the first volume, because its theme and because of the scale of Roosevelt's own actions. It is a book not only for the United States, but for the world. Asa Briggs, The Washington Times. The Rise of Theodore Rex achieved a reputation as a modern classic. Painstakingly researched, compelling written, the winner of the Pulitzer Prize and the American Book Award, Theodore Rex is a worthy successor. Once again, the scholarship is painstaking. The choices made amid an overwhelming amount of ultra-rich subject matter are wise. The scenes and anecdotes are so fascinating. The book is compelling. Morris is an exciting teacher of U.S. history. Steve Weinberg, The Denver Post. Displaying a rich collection of vivid anecdotes, Mr. Morris provides a brilliant account of Theodore Roosevelt's nearly 7.5 years of power. Edward J. Renahan, Jr., The Wall Street Journal. Roosevelt is a biographer's dream, an epic character not only out of place in an adventure novel. Edmund Morris captures perfectly the frantic atmosphere that surrounded a president of boundless energy, imagination, and ambition. Theodore Rex is a massive achievement and hugely entertaining. Michael O. Hanlon, The Christian Science Monitor. There have been many splendid books about Roosevelt, but this surpasses them. T.R. would have liked the way Edmund Morris had conjured him in this arresting study of a man in the peak of his powers. Theodore Roosevelt is back as the most rambunctious ghost stomping in the attic of our national memory. Ted Widmer, The New York Observer. No president before him acted with such zest, and none has since. Small wonder that Mark Twain called Roosevelt the most popular human being that has ever existed in the United States. Morris is the happiest of the biographers, one writing with affection about a colorful character who left his boot prints all over history. The reader finds himself holding not so much a book as a whirlwind of energy. Harry Levins, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Roosevelt is a biographer's dream. His was a life of action, pure act, in Henry Adams's phrase. Action produces narrative, and narrative requires scene setting. And Morris has an uncommon talent for both. He is splendid when telling a story and describing the scenery against which it unfolds. Russell Baker, The New York Review of Books. It is easy to forget that you are reading about a former president. The man is so fascinating that the presidency seems almost marginal. Morris has to race to match Roosevelt's pace, but at every turn, the biographer shrewdly takes his protein subject's measure. The result is an inspiring reminder that greatness and politics aren't always antithetical. Malcolm Jones, Newsweek. Morris does a masterful job. No self-respecting novelist would make up such a character. Roosevelt might wonder why he writes only 3 volumes from Morris. Bob Menzenheimer, USA Today. Much of this book has the hurtling pace and alert eye of fiction. Theodore Rex lets Morris be Morris, which is to say one of the most adroit biographers around. Richard Lacayo, Time. The sheer loveliness of Morris's prose, his adept handling of scenes and emotions, his skill at building suspense and managing disclosure, all these talents are manifest in Theodore Rex. Morris's unusual skills are a gift. Daniel Ask, New Jersey Star Ledger. Morris writes from inside, presenting everything in scenario fashion, with characters and action and dialogue in energetic prose, and with little overt authorial presence. Nicholas Lemann, The New Yorker. What commends Morris's book is not only the sheer richness of TR's life, but the sheer old-fashioned richness of the writing. Here is wit, here is irony, and here is the talent to get it all across. Morris has written a book so good that TR himself would have recommended it. Richard Cohen, The Washington Post. His style is reader-friendly and piquant. This is Roosevelt, as his often astonished contemporaries observed him. It is a shining portrait of a presently modern political genius maneuvering in a gilded age of wealth, optimism, excess, and American global ascension. John Carmen, San Francisco Chronicle. Morris has roared back to print with a huge book on Roosevelt's White House years, a big, beefy biography of an inexhaustible character, Bruce Clayton, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Morris is above all the portraitists, perhaps the best currently writing. His metaphors are often apt. At times, they are brilliant. H.W. Brands, Boston Sunday Globe. Magnificent. This is a compulsively readable, beautifully measured, and paced account. Probably no extended study has better captured Roosevelt's dynamicism, his childlike enthusiasms, his determination to make the presidency the center of national life, his imperial view of his role, his yearning for American empire. Michael Sherry, Chicago Tribune. Superb. The new book is every bit as detailed and imaginatively written as its 1979 predecessor. Roosevelt's very real intellectual and physical appetites were positively Falstaffian. What distinguishes Theodore Rex's is anything not the copious research. There are 180 pages of notes, but rather its deeply novelistic construction, the numerous writerly touches, and the acts of emotional sympathy. Add to this some smaller touches, and you end up with a biography that's as good as fiction. A narrative that is well suited in heft, temper, and tone to its vivid subject. Daniel Mendelsohn, New York. Roosevelt's titanic personality emerges vividly and with a good deal of nuance. The nation he led through a period of turbulent economic, social, and political change proves to have much in common with America as the turn of the 21st century. The narrative moves steadily forward, enriched but seldom slowed by detail. Morris's prose is swift and sure, with a good deal of bite. Wendy Smith, Newsday. A reader doesn't have to turn too many pages of this grand biography of Theodore Roosevelt's presidential years before coming to the inescapable conclusion that TR was one of the most fascinating and singularly different presidents in American history. Theodore Rex is brilliantly researched and masterfully told. Without question, this is the definitive one-volume history of Roosevelt's presidency. Tom Powers, The Flint Journal, Michigan. A recent C-SPAN poll placed TR fourth among all presidents, behind only Lincoln, Washington, and FDR. Theodore Rex will only consolidate his standing. It is a huge story told against the tumultuous backdrop of a national and global change. Bill Bell, New York Daily News. Okay, so that is all for praise for Theodore Rex. Thank you for watching.